Hi, Joshua with Truth and Mercy Baptist Ministries. When David was given his choice of punishments for numbering the people, was it 7 years of famine or was it 3? This presents a little bit of a contradiction or a predicament that the Bible critics love to throw at the King James Bible, and I'd like to show you why this is not a contradiction at all. Let's look at the passages. 2Samuel24:13 says, 7 years in this way. So Gad came to David and told him and said unto him, Shall 7 years of famine come unto thee in thy land? Or wilt thou flee 3 months before thine enemies while they pursue thee? Or that there be 3 days pestilence in thy land? Now advise and see what answer I shall return to him that sent me. 7 years. Okay. 1Chron21:12, however, says 3. Either 3 years famine, or 3 months to be destroyed before thy foes, while that the sword of thine enemies overtaketh thee, or else 3 days the sword of the Lord, even the pestilence in the land, and the angel of the Lord destroying throughout all the coasts of Israel. Now, therefore, advise thyself what word I shall bring again to him that sent me. So, is this a contradiction? Why 7 in one passage and 3 in the other? Well, as always, the answer is right here in the Bible if we just look for it. There is no contradiction. Here's our first clue. Notice in Samuel 24, where it says 7 years, in the very next verse, verse 14, David says, I am in a great strait, a predicament. He's between a rock and a hard place. Now, why? Why would he say that? Well, because while he would probably have chosen the 3-year famine as being the least harmful of the 3 options, something made this 3-year famine more severe than it would have otherwise been. So what was this rock and a hard place? Well, we find that in 2 Samuel 21, verse 1, just a few chapters prior to this event. Then there was a famine in the days of David, 3 years. Okay, so they had just come through a 3-year famine already. And now he's facing another one. So he says, I'm in a great strait. He knew he'd just come through 3 years of famine, and he's in no condition to face another 3 years of famine in the future. What would have been 3 lean years could now be devastation for Israel. Now, granted, 3 plus 3 is not 7, and the passage says 7, but it seems to me that David is speaking in the 4th year, as the nation is now coming out of that 3 years of famine, and he's looking ahead to 3 more years of famine, and when you add up those 3 and the other 3 with the transition year included, that would account for 7 years of famine, if you include that transition year. So in 2 Samuel 24:1, when Gad says 7 years, he's giving a loose total, including the previous famine and the transition year. Whereas in 1 Chronicles 21:12, Gad is only speaking of the new 3-year famine. So in this way, both passages are correct, and there's no contradiction in God's Word. Let me know what you thought about this contradiction. If you have any other ideas for contradictions we can address, or if you know of a better way to resolve this supposed contradiction, let me know in the comments. God bless.